Top class cycling for you next weekend on Eurosport with the Road Cycling World Championships. The women's team time trial is Sunday from 9 o'clock live on Eurosport 1, followed by the men's team time trial. That's at 1:45 in the afternoon. Beautiful blue skies here at Oulton Park in Cheshire. It hasn't been like this all day, though. We've had 4 seasons in one day. It was raining earlier on for the Pirelli National Stk1000 race, but it served up an absolute cracker. Your commentary team for this one were BSB's Christian Idden in the commentary box alongside Jack Bernacle.
The Pirelli National Super Stk1000 Championship in association with Pirelli. It's their second race of the weekend, and yesterday's dramatic set to prized open the championship gap at the top between the winner Billy McConnell and the man who chased him hard, Keith Farmer, to all of 5.5 seconds from 5.5 points from half a point before. Joe Collier had to fight his way through from taking the escape road at Knickerbrook, and managed to rescue enough points to stay in championship contention. Josh Elliott will start from pole. He finished 4th yesterday, but set fastest lap. Alex Oulton in 5th. Lee Jackson, birthday boy today, 23 today, in 6th place. The starting grid headed by Josh Elliott for OMG Racing Suzuki, Keith Farmer, Tyco BMW, alongside Build-Based Suzuki's Billy McConnell. Second row of the grid, Alex Oulton ahead of Taylor McKenzie and Lee Jackson. Row 3, Joe Collier on the EHA Racing Aprilia is ahead of Leon Geacock and Scotsman Lewis Rollo, who crashed the Ducati yesterday, with Dean Hipwell, Italian Claudio Corti and Sam Coventry on row 4. 37 riders altogether out on track, and it's been declared a wet race. But alongside me I've got Christian Idden, a man with a pretty considerable amount of experience at this caper. And would that mean that your sensible option is to fit wet weather tyres, even though you've got 14 laps ahead of you in which it's going to get drier, Christian?
Yeah, sensible option is obviously to stick on the wets, but as you can see there, there's a fair line in round Oulton Park, because the line is such a specific line that with this many bikes out, it dries very, very quickly. Also, the standing water goes very quickly because there's a lot of undulation. So, yeah, as you can see there, there's already a line, but turn 1 is very wet already. I did have a good look there. So I guess for the championship protagonists, they're going to want to make sure they're on the same as the other guys who are up there in the championship. And apart from that, yeah, there could be a few guys towards the back that might have gambled, but I didn't get a good look at what the tyre combinations were.
So Josh Elliott, distinctive black and bright yellow front number plate, the number 10 there on pole position. Billy McConnell is the man who leads the championship for Build-Based Suzuki after that victory yesterday. And Billy gets enough of a slide on in the dry. He's certainly going to enjoy himself in the wet. Keith Farmer is always the last man to appear on these, and he's on full wets. So too the man alongside him in pole position, Keith Farmer, who says the BMW doesn't do entirely what he wants it to when it's on a full tank of petrol and fresh tyres. Perhaps that'll change on the rain tyres. Certainly he came on really strongly at the end of the race and made for a really exciting race yesterday. He'll be looking to get his challenge in a bit earlier this time around. The start will be vital then. 14 laps of the Super Stk1000 race. Josh Elliott off pole position, gets a decent jump and does indeed bolt out of the traps. Look at Alex Oulton. Oulton comes through from the second row of the grid and gets the better of both McConnell and Farmer. So as they drop down the avenue then, through Denton's, that kink of a right-hander, and then into the huge left at Cascades, Josh Elliott, who's always been, he's shown this speed early in the race and then tended to lose out a little bit. Look at Claudio Corti. Corti's come through to about 7th place on the green and yellow Stow Connect Academy bike, but here's Joe Collier trying to get inside him on the EHA Racing Aprilia. He needs the points up against Farmer. And look at that collision between Billy McConnell and Alex Oulton. There was contact there that sat the tall Oulton up and cost him a couple of places. Yeah, not only they're fighting for trying to pass normally is difficult, but as you can see, there's a very slight line. So that was Collier's problem going into Island Bend there. He was on the wet line when he tried to pass Corti, so it makes it very difficult at this point in time, because all the guys are fighting for obviously the dry line, which is the grippy one. But we see Farmer already making a move here on Billy McConnell, and we know how important that is for the championship. And he does indeed squeeze through on that dry line, gets ahead of McConnell and into second place.
Corti, I think, straight across there at the chicane, it looked like he'd made a mistake. I think it was Claudio Corti.
It was, because he's disappeared from that group. Someone has a big moment coming up Clay Hill, but Corti on his on his kind of debut visit to Oulton Park, then makes that familiar mistake. Lee Jackson on his 23rd birthday there in the bright orange helmet for FS3 Kawasaki is right behind Alex Oulton as they go bouncing underneath the Bennett's footbridge. And Oulton already looking back towards... Oh, and someone's... It's Elliott! Josh Elliott, the race leader, has lost it on the first lap going into the final turn. And that's the end of it for the OMG Suzuki.
Yeah, we heard the scrapes before we saw anything there, that's for sure. But yeah, Keith Farmer now finds himself out front, so it's not that easy of a position to be in when conditions are like this. I know that Keith has been, as we're just going to look at Elliott's crash, yeah, it's a bit later on. I assume he just locked the front on the way in, because that was certainly quite an early crash, and no damage done other than the fact he's going to get no points. But yeah, Keith out front at the moment, not an easy position to be in at the moment, and especially with your championship rival right behind him.
And we've got another faller in these damp and greasy conditions early on. It's always going to cause some problems, and that's number 66, Nico Cipriano, who was he actually qualified right at the back of the grid, but he looks to be fairly safe. Now we're looking at the leaders here, and the man who's instantly impressive is Leon Geacock. You know, when these conditions are a bit squiffy, you just never know who's going to pop up near the front. And Leon Geacock is the man who's showing us that temperament and that skill at the moment, because he's running in third place. Geacock, number 55, on the George Davis Race and Smirk Racing Suzuki. Rode a BMW last year, on to Suzuki this year, and there he is running just behind the more recognisable Suzuki build bases, Billy McConnell. He looked over his shoulder then and almost gave himself the opportunity to lose a place, because right behind him is Lee Jackson and then Alex Oulton.
Yeah, we've got sort of a breakaway of 5 here at the moment, and then a bit of a gap to Taylor McKenzie, who's there on his own, and then Joe Collier, who's obviously third in the championship right now. He had lost a place to True Love the lap before, but he's regained that again. So, you know, Collier's really fighting at the moment. He went very well here at the start of the year and doesn't seem to have been as strong this weekend, which is strange. I did speak to the team owner, and they couldn't quite place it as to why they were so strong at the start of the year and not quite had it at the moment. But Collier certainly putting in a good showing, as Oulton is now making his way forward. And Oulton had a good showing yesterday, and I actually spoke to him and said, I asked him why he sort of dropped off a little bit towards the end of the race, and he had a problem with the preload adjuster on the suspension, so essentially the preload wound its way all the way off, and he said it was horrible. It was like riding a tank towards the end. So hopefully that's all fixed. Well, I'm sure it is. So you might see a bit of a better showing from Alex towards the end. Billy up the inside, that is a big move into Island Bend, big move, and he's managed he's just trying to hold it on that bit of a dry land. He's managed it. Now what we've seen from Billy in the past is he's a very aggressive rider. Oh, Keith straight back, I love it.
Keith also.
Yeah, Billy's always been, shall we say, a little bit harder on tyres, and obviously right now we've got wet tyres on a drying track, so Keith's always been very strong at the race. The fact that Keith's in the lead at the beginning right now sort of bodes a little bit better for Keith, yes.
Dropping over the top of the hill then, and here comes Alex Oulton making a move on the third place, and he does skate past, and he does haul it back in as well. So back to fourth place then goes the bespectacled tyre fitter from Kirby Mallory, right adjacent to Mallory Park. There he is, the leader of those two. In fourth place now, Leon Geacock. Finished only 27th in Stk1000 last year, so you've got to realise how quickly some of these lads suddenly find their way and start improving.
We're only on lap 3, and you can see the line's getting wider and wider. I give it 2 more laps, and a dry tyre would be workable. Obviously, there's no standing water to displace, so it would work, as we see McConnell again going for another one. And he's going to make it stick this time. He definitely has. And the trouble for Farmer this time is he's got a very hard charge in Alex Oulton, who's probably going to try and surprise him.
Joe Collier there right on the back wheel of Taylor McKenzie as we watch Alex Oulton ease his way past, and then at the same time as Lee Bob Jackson goes through as well, so chopping and changing here. McConnell's safe at the front. Collier goes through ahead of Taylor McKenzie. He makes his move at turn 1 as well, so suddenly Collier's up to 6th place, and he'll have just that little bit of clear track to try and eat into the advantage of Leon Geacock.
That's it, and Joe Collier set the fastest lap of the race as well, and then he was actually a second and a half faster than Keith Farmer on that last lap.
So Oulton is definitely on the move. He's into second place, and he might just have a slightly... doesn't seem like the sort of lad who had vengeful thoughts in his head, but he's already been bumped out by Billy McConnell on the first lap, so he could just be thirsting for revenge here. The front four beginning to ease slightly away from last week's birthday boy, 30-year-old on the 4th of October, Leon Geacock. And today's birthday boy, Lee Jackson there, number 14, having a good ride as well. He needs to start getting some more points on. We know how good the former champion is. 96 Jordan Gilbert on the Team Wireless Logic Deadline BMW. The Middlesex man is pulled up
Easy
on
for you to say,
Island Bend. Yes. Well, you know, people like the full-scale essays sometimes. At least certainly the backers of the teams do. That's why we like it simple. Build-based Suzuki and Tyco BMW, but in between them, of course, number 75 Alex Oulton on the Astro JJR Racing BMW, which is James Jackson Racing, which of course Alex Oulton, as he goes for the lead now, does squeeze fairly past Billy McConnell. Oulton looking really strong. James Jackson, of course, was the guy who used to run the wonderful Haribo Star Mix Triumphs team in Superstock 600 that Alex Oulton was an outstanding rider for. So Oulton essentially still riding for the embers of the Haribo Star Mix team, without the Haribo Star Mix bags of sweeties being delivered to us as they used to be every weekend.
Yeah, I always used to walk past that team because they'd give out free bags of sweeties. It didn't even matter if it was nowhere near where I was going to. I thought I used to go just wander on past.
Doubtless that was the youth club would enjoy them on a Saturday night, and this is Keith Farmer coming under some real pressure now from Lee Jackson. Lee Jackson on the FS3 Kawasaki, the Tyco BMW. We've got the leader at the moment is number 75 Alex Oulton for BMW, and then we've got Suzuki, BMW and Kawasaki involved. And that would be how things look at the moment, because that would extend the advantage of Billy McConnell to a massive 10.5 points. Remember, these guys have just got this race and one more, and then that's the championship done and dusted. They're not at Assen, and they have a single race at the final round in Brands Hatch.
It's Joe Collier who's the main man on the move right now. Alex Oulton set the fastest lap on that last race, but Collier wasn't far behind, and he is in a little bit of traffic, and he has just passed Taylor Mackenzie as well, so he's on his way up. He is now up to 6th position. And
he's got right ahead of him, he's got Leon Geacock. Geacock on Suzuki 49.3, Collier at 48.666. So that gap closing. There's Geacock, there's Collier just ahead of Taylor Mackenzie, the older of the two Mackenzie siblings. And at the front still, Alex Oulton just holding on to that. No one just quite able to make a move at the moment. You would think that would they eventually start actually seeking out a bit of damp track, and could you get more secure under braking on the damp parts of the track, or does that not make sense?
On a bigger track you can do it quite easily, because down the straights you'll then seek out the wet bits, but on a track such as Oulton Park, where you basically there is one line and the straights aren't really that long, then you can't really do it as much as you would do, and you can see that the sun's coming out a little bit now. There is changeable skies overhead, but right now we've got a patch of blue, and yeah, the track's drying low. You can see Billy spinning up out of there. He's got great drive, but there's a long way left in this race, and the question mark is as well is, we know that everyone's on wet tyres, but you can also have quite changeable setup. So a lot of these guys, they may not actually be on a wet setting, so some of them may go for a dry setting even though you've got wet tyres on. So we know everyone's got the same tyres on, but have they all got the same sort of setup that they'd be going for normally? Because they all will have been pretty sure that there would be a dry line at least forming, but it seems that none of them maybe were expecting such a dry line so quickly.
You can see there's a line. Sam Coventry and Dean Hepwell, you know, are riding strongly just off the back of this group behind Taylor Mackenzie. So there's some interesting people just beginning to sneak into the fray here. There's Collier. He's got past Geacock. So that was the move that Collier needed to make to get into the top 5 and open up the possibilities of snipping away at these lads ahead of him. So the lad from just outside Colville in Leicestershire, where he bought a 200-year-old house 2 years ago, and he's rebuilt it. He's extended the whole thing and finally moved into it earlier this year with his girlfriend. So a lad who's worked really hard there. Joe Collier running in 5th place. He's an electrician. I said, does that mean you can build a house as well? He says, no, but I know everybody in the trade who can do stuff for me.
Isn't Lee Jackson an electrician as well?
No, he's a plumber.
Oh, right. Well, you should maybe team up a little bit then.
Got to get your trades right.
We do a bit of a DIY SOS.
McConnell still holding station. Alex Oulton, look at that, he was 3/4 of a second ahead on that lap. But look, the fastest lap is a man who's been in this class, it seems almost forever, Dean Hipwell. Whose dad Colin was a very decent performer, wasn't he, back in the day? So Dean Hipwell, number 74, sets the fastest lap. He's moved ahead of Sam Coventry.
Yeah, and really making moves. He's already making a move there on G-Cock. He's up the inside, and this is going to be another big move into Ireland.
When he makes it stick.
You called that one early, Jack.
So CDH Racing then, and that is Dean Hipwell, number 74, sneaks his way through.
And
so now he's
followed him through as well.
Yeah, Coventry's gone through as well. So G-Cock, not liking the drying track, just begins to get edged back as these guys still hold station. And hasn't been any increase in that lead then for Alex Oulton.
No, and obviously right now we've got a race for different people racing for different things. You know, we've got Billy and Keith, who are right up there in the championship. They're 1-2 in the championship. You've got Collier, who is still well within the fight. But all the rest of these guys have got chance to really prove themselves. You know what it's like at this time of year. We're at that stage where everyone's seeing and thinking about what they're doing next year, and they all want to be in the shop window. And there's some great rides going on at the moment. Obviously, Alex Oulton right now is out front, and he has been pretty much for the last 3 rounds. He's been absolutely epic lately, and but still, we can see that it's Hipwell and Coventry that actually are doing the really quick times in the sector times.
Alex Oulton leads the way at the moment. He was 3/4 of a second ahead on the last lap. Oh, look at this. Brilliant move by Joe Collier. Squeezes round the outside of Lee Jackson. And now he's through into 4th place. So Collier, he needs the point. He needs the points to stay in contention. He knows that. The smiling young man from Leicestershire knows that. He's on the move now. He's straight just in front of him now. He's got Billy McConnell. Can he get the better of McConnell? Oulton leads it. Farmer's moved past McConnell, and Collier has moved past Jackson. So we're on the 8th lap of 14, so we've just passed half distance, and that's how the positions would look now, with 255 against 253.5. We like it tight, boys. Keep it tight. Joe Collier on 229 could do with somehow finding a way past those 2 guys who are ahead of him in the championship. That last lap was fastest man on track was Taylor Mackenzie, 147.4, and then a 147.8 then for Joe Collier over the top of the hill.
Pretty much now every lap's getting quicker and quicker. These guys, the dry line gets bigger and bigger, but there does come a point where the track sort of goes a little bit greasy. Although it dries out, there's always a point where lap times sort of stabilise a little bit, and that's sort of the point where the wet tyres can't take it anymore, and it doesn't really get much quicker. So they're sort of getting that way. That the chunks of time they're taking off are getting less and less. Everyone obviously now knows exactly how they're feeling on the bike. They've got a good feeling. Billy McConnell, I don't know if he's running wide on purpose, but he's certainly seeking out the damp bits of track, and at the moment it's Farmer who's looking good championship-wise, but that Aprilia, that EHA Racing Aprilia of Colliers has always been very good on tyres, and like I said earlier, Jack, this is going to be a race of tyres, because they've still got a long way left on wet tyres, on which are on what is essentially right now pretty much a dry track.
6 laps to go, in fact, which is a pretty large amount of time yet to go here, as Oulton sets his fastest lap, 47.3, fastest lap of the race. Farmer 46.64 behind him, which is why that gap has shrunk. And Collier just momentarily marooned, hasn't managed to close the gap. If anything, lost a bit of time then as he desperately gets the bike stood upright coming through Cascades. Yeah,
Oulton went across the line and was quickest obviously at that time, but actually he was about the 10th fastest on that lap.
Oh, and Leon G-Cock's gone down after that splendid ride in which he looked really good during the early laps, made strong progress in the damp. He's gone down, so the first victim of the conditions then. He goes out of the top 10. Hipwell, Coventry, G-Cock was lying 9th, so True Love moves up to 9th, and Tim Neve into 10th place. Or one of the Neves. Take your pick between Tom and Tim of the Lincolnshire Twins. Look at this, it's closed right up. This is the fascination of a race that's got a bit of length to it, is just how the storyline unfolds. And right now, the front 5 riders absolutely together, with Taylor Mackenzie just dropped off the back of them on Michael Rutter's Batham's BMW.
Yeah, Mackenzie just dropped off the back, but he is right now setting the quickest sectors. So it changes so quick in these races. Obviously, when it's dry, normally we're used to people not being able to take even a tenth of a second out of each other. When a race is like this and conditions change, you know, every lap you find a new bit of grip, or you start losing grip, or the setup comes to you or goes away from you. So we see these changes in a race. And
and that was Lee Jackson, the birthday boy, slid out. So on his 23rd birthday, Lee Jackson gives himself the wrong thing to remember it by and just skates out at Lodge Corner. What a shame.
That's it. And let's just see what happens.
Oh, it was very late on.
Yeah, just as that front just goes over that rise a little bit, and you know, right now these wet tyres, they're going to be like chewing gum, and that's what feeling you get, and that's a shame. That is a real shame, especially on your birthday. He was going very well. He's had a good few rounds, and that is a big shame there.
So the Thruxton winner goes out, and now then, Oulton, Farmer and build-based Suzuki's McConnell are nailed together with Joe Collier just astern of them, trying desperately to close that gap. Billy sideways once again. And what's amazing about Oulton in that unfussy style of his is how strong he is into the turns. He took time out of Farmer on the last lap, dropping into Lodge Corner, just coolly on the brakes. But look at that fastest lap to Collier, 46.1. So I was wrong to think he'd lost a bit of ground. He's gaining it. These are, remember, these are 1000cc, you know, 200 plus brake horsepower road bikes that we've got out here, and they're really mean things to handle around this undulating Oulton Park circuit. Billy McConnell loses a bit of ground there suddenly, and it's the two BMWs locked together at the front.
Billy's spinning up like crazy now. We know Billy's got an eccentric riding style, but that looks like it's starting to cry enough, and we've still got a fair few laps to go, and yeah, Billy might start to go into a fair bit of tyre trouble now, and the more that he spins it, unfortunately, every bit of spin creates more heat, and more heat creates more spin, so it's a vicious cycle. Once you start spinning up on these tyres, you're going to... And he's gone missing.
He's gone. Where's McConnell gone? We lost McConnell. Suddenly, whilst following the two men at the front, McConnell just disappeared, and Collier's gone through third. Mackenzie hit well. Coventry, McConnell in seventh. McConnell's gone through in seventh. He's still in the race, but he's suddenly hemorrhaged places as we see Keith Farmer, right on cue, dive to the front of the race and undoubtedly to the front of the championship. Oh, not quite. Look at the way Oulton coolly just clips his way inside the wayward Tyco BMW. Doesn't quite hang on to it as they go through Island Bend. So Farmer still leads the way. Just Collier is now third. Now this makes the championship interesting. McConnell has dropped to 7th place. So let's see what happened to McConnell. Oh, and McConnell's gone straight on, and he's held it up. He keeps it there, and he foots his way out of it, rather like Bradley Ray did in the Superbike race. He gets away with it. He rejoins in 7th place.
Championship standings, that was massive, and just to add insult to injury, Keith Farmer almost simultaneously made a pass for the lead, and he's looking good as Keith right now, looking very good.
So Tyco BMW's Keith Farmer leads the way. There's the top 6 through your picture. Number 59, Sam Coventry there from Waterlooville on the Lloyds and Jones Bowker Motorrad BMW. A lad from Waterlooville riding for a team from Liverpool. It is bizarre the way this stuff works out geographically. You know, Keith Farmer, of course, the clogger bullet, more likely union really with Tyco BMW, who are very much a Northern Irish team, run by Philip and Hector Neal. Keith Farmer now would lead the championship, of course, and Billy McConnell marooned in 7th place. He's clear in 7th, well ahead of True Love, Neve and Godfrey, but of course way behind this leading sextet. So that is the way it looks at the moment, with Joe Collier not able to make ground in 3rd place, but 3rd place will land him 16 points. McConnell's 7th place will land him a mere 9 points against 25 if Farmer wins this race.
McConnell's in absolutely no man's land right now. He's not going to gain or lose any unless something happens. But yeah, 10.5 points now the swing, and you know, who knows, that half point could do it. We've seen a World Superbike go down to a half-point championship. So
we have, and that was Tom Sykes, bless him, losing out to Max Biaggi in 2012. We're on the 12th lap of 14, and with Keith Farmer, who says the bike in dry conditions comes back to him as the fuel load lightens and the tyres wear, is beginning to look pretty handily in control of this. Your team boss, Philip Neal, not too happy with Keith crashing at Cadwell Park when he felt he didn't need to be pushing that hard. But so he needs to just make sure that he brings the bike home, hopefully in first place right now. Joe Collier still in the thick of things there, but he's being closed down now, not only by Taylor Mackenzie, but also Dean Hipwell, whose dad Colin, I mentioned, was a solid rider in British Superbikes for many years. So as they come through the right-hander.
Hipwell and Coventry are having an absolutely storming ride right here. They really are.
And over the top of the hill, our director, Richard Coventry, will be doing his little nut here. He's always been a supporter of his namesake. On the 12th lap of 14, and 2 more to go after this. And Collier really, if he's to maintain a championship challenge, he needs to hang on to this 3rd place. But Mackenzie's not bothered about that. Mackenzie squeezes through, and there's nothing the Leicestershire boy can do about that. He's got to try and respond on the EHA Racing Aprilia, a team that he'd love to stay with next year. He says they're a great team to ride for, and certainly produce a beautiful motorcycle. And there he is in aquamarine, followed by the similar colours with white and orange of Dean Hipwell. Good to see Hipwell having such a strong ride, because, as I say, he's been a regular in this championship, in this series, for a very long time. Last lap for Farmer was his fastest yet. So too was Oulton. The difference being that Farmer was considerably the quicker, was the quicker of the two. So Farmer, Oulton, Mackenzie now in 3rd, Collier in 4th place with Hipwell for company. We're on the penultimate lap.
Alex Oulton is actually only on the last sector, is only 4 tenths down. So as much as we thought that Keith maybe had it in hand, he might not do. This still could go down. I can't see Keith not picking up the win here, but who knows? You know, Alex has really got the. He's really pushing on now. We can see, and actually Alex has been so sort of not getting out of shape, and now we can see a few other bikes making a few more shapes. He's definitely pushing on, is Alex Oulton, and Keith probably won't be expecting that, because he probably got to the front and thought that was all in.
And it's not looking by any means a done and dusted deal at the moment. There's Sam Coventry running strongly in 6th place. McConnell way behind him, so he's got no one to bother him from the back here. It looks like a strong sort of 6th place finish, an unexpected 6th place finish. These conditions always throwing up oddball results, and it's good to see these guys adapting so well. Keith Farmer, he always adapts well. He leads the way, and super cool, super smooth Alex Oulton still there behind him, and it could be that Oulton can take this right down to the wire. This is going to be nip and tuck. Keith Farmer wants to extend that championship lead by as many as he possibly can. So as he crosses into the final lap, then there is number 77, Taylor Mackenzie, but ahead of him, just 0.49 of a second separates Keith Farmer from Alex Oulton in their battle for supremacy at the front.
And there's plenty of passing places around here. It's not like it's a track where we can't pass. We know that this is one of the best last corners in the country. So if Alex is close enough, he has been strong into that final corner the whole time. We could still have a race on yet.
Joe Collier having a look at getting another snip back for precious points needed. Of course, the difference is 13 points to 16 if he were able to nab back Taylor Mackenzie.
I'm just looking at the front right now, and it looks like Keith's pulled out 4 tenths in that sector.
Yes, Farmer suddenly, like Keith tends to do, he's so strong on that on the final stages of any race. Joe Collier trying to get that RSV4 Aprilia, that beautiful little motorcycle, wound up as he comes downhill behind the immaculate gold and black and red BMW. Taylor, former national Superstock champion, of course, 2 years ago. Just holding on to that now. He's running out of places where he can try this, Joe Collier. He's got to stay close, though. Look at the BMW's raw power up the hill. That was enough to pull Taylor Mackenzie slightly clear. So now it's down to a good run through Druids for Collier to get onto his back wheel. Meanwhile, Keith Farmer looking like this is going to be victory for Farmer, and of course a really important one with his great rival for the championship pushed back to 7th place. As the back marker gets kindly out of the way, Keith Farmer takes the win here at Oulton Park and takes the lead in the championship at absolutely the crucial point. 2nd place, another fine ride by Alex Oulton. 3rd place, Taylor Mackenzie. Welcome back, T-Mac. 4th place, Joe Collier. He'll be slightly disappointed with that, but he's still pocketed a good deal more points than Billy McConnell. The former championship leader, Build-Based Suzuki, crosses the line now, and that single mistake has cost Billy dearly. The championship, yep, it's still open, but there's only one race remaining, and you can see Build-Based Suzuki boys a little despondent at that. Well, Tyco BMW will be bouncing, then you'll have a happy camp to go back to.
That's it, bosses out there. Look, there we go.
Always good to see the most engaging of the team bosses looking so happy with life. Philip Neal then goes to greet Keith Farmer. Farmer's been in a very relaxed frame of mind all weekend, it seems to me.
Keith has got a good mindset about him. What I like is actually he just pushes on. You know, we saw it at Cadwell, we spoke about it at Cadwell that he crashed, he made a mistake, but at least he was having a good go. And he made one mistake, but it's so easily done. That situation that he was in at Cadwell he was in a tough race and he wanted to make a break, and he made one mistake and he went down on that one, but we've just seen that Billy made one mistake and that pulled back. So, you know, it's so easily done.
And acknowledging the crowd here at Oulton Park, always a terrific crowd from Northern English enthusiasts. Well, relatively Northern English, not by my standards, but, you know, as far north as we get except Scotland. Keith Farmer, Alex Olsen and Taylor Mackenzie are the men on the rostrum. Joe Collier finishes a very fine fourth considering how far he came through the pack. Dean Hipwell and Sam Governey, what great results for those two BMWs, 5th and 6th. McConnell at Chaston 7th ahead of Tim Neve, Matt Truelove and Tom Ward for the Mavuno.com Halsell Racing Team. Ben Gonfrey 11th, and your youth club member Barry Teasdale, good to see a northeasterner in there, 12th place ahead of Italian Claudio Corti. Tom Tunstall gets 2 points in 14th for Integro BMW ahead of former Superstocks Hinks 100 man George Stanley. Championship standings won't make the happiest of readings for the former leader Billy McConnell. Keith Farmer takes over at the top with a 10.5 point advantage over Billy. Joe Collier is minus 29, which means Joe cannot win the championship, unfortunately, because only 25 points remain from that one race at Brands Hatch, so it's between Farmer and McConnell. Olsen on 186 is 4th ahead of Josh Elliott, of course, who crashed out of that race very early. Lee Jackson also went down. He remains 6th ahead of Andy Reid, still out injured, Alistair Seeley and Chrissy Rouse, who've gone elsewhere. And Taylor Mackenzie, late into the series, moves into the top 10 by half a point from Leon Geacock, who unfortunately went down after looking really strong early on. Matt Truelove in 12th ahead of Michael Rutter, Tom Neve and George Stanley.
Here we go, Keith Farmer there taking the win in the second race of the weekend. You had a second yesterday, a first day, and that means you take the lead in the championship at the crucial moment with only one race left at Brands. Just talk us through that one.
Yeah, we were a bit frustrated yesterday because we couldn't go at the start, and I made a mistake on the last lap yesterday, so it ruined their chances of a win. But you know, credit to the team, they worked their ass off from the race till the warm-up yesterday, and then today left me a mega bike. And you know, it was a tricky one. We had to find our feet, and I was a bit strong on the throttle, shall I say, at the start, and I cut my tyre up and compared to anyone else's. But you know, credit to the team, Tyco BMW, they've been mega, and they've given me a bike that I could ride and was user-friendly today, so big credit to them. And just like to thank you all my sponsors who haven't got a mention recently, but Hillcroft Park, Waitings, Eden Commercials, Fit for Racing, Dickies, RI, LC Customs, JW Plastering, Rapid and AC Autos and Enable Business. Thank you very much, guys, much appreciated.
Congratulations. Now a 2-horse race at Brands. We can't wait for that one. Well done.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, you know. I don't know where Billy ended up there, and 7th, so it's give us a bit of a lead, but as I say, the pressure's maybe back on me now because it's mine to lose. But you know, we go well there, and we're gonna hopefully get a test beforehand. So all being well, there's only one race, so we'll give it the best.
Absolutely, all the best. Thank you very much, Keith.
Cheers, thank you. Cheers, guys.
Yep, final round decider in the Pirelli National Superstock 1000. Something to look forward to at Brands Hatch there, boys?
Yeah, completely. A big mistake from Billy. I don't mean the mistake he made at turn 1. I mean, staying with the wets, it looked like he had wets on there, and it just didn't work. There was nothing he could do at the end.
Yeah, you can see him spinning up, and that's cost him some time. Obviously, Keith Farmer did a brilliant job to make the most of it, but it really puts the pressure on for the final round. I mean, it's been great for the neutrals, so it's all to play for there.
It'll be all to play for in the final round of the Stock Thousands. Will it all be to play for in the final round of the Superbike Championship? Well, one man who will have a big say in whether or not that happens is Jake Dixon, and he went certainly the right way about doing that today. And Jake, as voted for by the fans on the official BSB Twitter app, you are the Dickies rider of the day. So the Northern sales rep, Paul Elliott, is going to give you the Stetson.
God, I look good, don't I?
which caps off, almost literally, the perfect weekend for you, Jake. You were fast in practice, pole position, double race win. You even pole on race 2 as well. It was perfect.
Yeah, definitely. It couldn't have gone any better. And like you say, the real highlight for me was to do the fastest ever lap, to beat Shane's time, because I know how fast he is. In general, he's 6 times.
Yeah, never mind the next championship. Yeah, just try and beat me. It's all right.
No, I'm joking. It's obviously fantastic to do the double today and to do it in wet and dry. So. It was definitely hard work in the second one to hang on to my tyre for them last 8 laps, but I really tried hard.
What's the game plan now going forward, Jake? I mean, you've just done, you had your first wins now away from Knockhill. Obviously a massive, massive thing for you. Great to see you do it in the wet and the dry. Go to Assen now. Always a little bit sketchy weather-wise there. You know, are we still going to try and pull the pin, or are we going to try and think about it a bit more? What's the game plan for Jake Dixon?
The thing is, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and working hard throughout practice to get the best out of the package that we've got underneath us at the end of the day. And I'm not going to approach the weekend thinking that I'm going to go there and do anything different, because it goes wrong when you start doing that. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, what I've done throughout all this year. So the pressure is on Leon to not make a mistake, basically. And
yeah, but I guess all you can do anyway is do what you can do. You can't affect what's happening to him.
Oh. Mate, I just literally am loving riding my motorbike right now.
Yeah, we can tell that a little bit.
And I was just, when I was riding around, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is all right, riding around 5.8, and then all of a sudden, oh, no. This is going horribly wrong right now.
It's got to be a nervy last few laps in that one.
I won't even tell you what I was saying in my helmet, but, yeah, I was definitely biting the front of my helmet off, that is for sure. So it was scary stuff, but you have to be smart at the same time, because if you can get stuck in a rut and just keep riding the same lines and then spinning up, so I was trying to get in deeper, square it off more, get it onto the fat bit of the tyre, try and hang off, stand the bike up more, and luckily I just held on to it. So,
I think when you watch the races back after today, you know, when we spoke after the race, and I said to you were off too fast in the beginning. Sometimes with a 0, you know, you got to give it a bit of time to come in. But I think we reckon you pulled like a second in the first lap alone.
1.2 in the first lap. Yeah.
You know, so much for letting the tyre come to you.
I didn't even mean to though. It was like I felt so good with the bike that it was enabled me to go out and do that. And if, like I say, if I could have the tyre hang on, I'll be all right. I'll be laughing and I'll be just, yeah, it'd be good.
Are Assen and Brands good circuits for you? You think the bike's going to perform as well there?
At Brands this year, Brands GP, I've done the best I've ever done around there on a superbike. So, and I think we've got some more stuff that Glenn wants to try when we go back there. So I think we'll be in a real good position. I just kept overheating the front tyre when we was at Brands, and the last round, there won't be no issues with that because it'll be quite cold, so...
Have you had a chance to look at the championship points yet since the end of the race?
I'm not even going to have a look, I'm just...
All right, well, look away now then. Don't look at our monitor, because there they are. 31 points, the difference between you and Leon Haslam at the top. Josh Brooks now somewhat adrift there. What's that? 43 points behind Jake in 3rd place. It looks to us like it might be a 2-horse race. 125 points still up for grabs. 50 at Assen, 75 at Brands Hatch in the final round. Jake, we'll let you go. I think you're going to celebrate now, aren't you? Enjoy the moment.
Well, I've got Glenn coming back with me, so he's not flying back to Oz between this round and this round and Assen. So we get out and do some trials riding, and hopefully get Whit come along and, yeah, do a bit of that. But obviously...
McDonald's on the way home, Jake? You know, change things up a bit?
Nah.
KFC.
Never. It was Chinese in your case, but it's McDonald's in mine. Still the kids in me, mate. But no, it's been a fantastic weekend, and I can't thank my team enough.
Wear the hat to McDonald's. I might give you a free Happy Meal. Thanks, Jake.
Cheers.
All the best. Stay fun. OK, well, guys, that's just about all we've got time for here at Oulton Park. If you missed anything today, don't worry. We've got highlights for you later on this evening from 11 o'clock on Eurosport 2. Prior to that, we'll also have highlights of the World Superbike action from Portugal earlier today, including the World Supersport 600 race, which, of course, we couldn't get to show you live today. In a fortnight's time, another double-header, World Superbikes and British. The Worlds are at Magny-Cours. We're at Assen, 29th and 30th of September. That's all live, of course, on Eurosport 2. And next up here on Eurosport 2, we have the opening round of the 2018-2019 FIM Endurance World Championship, the Baldor 24-hour race. Highlights next, right here on Eurosport 2. From the whole team here, though, thanks for joining us. Goodbye from Portimao and Oulton Park, where Jake Dixon pulled the pin and Johnny Ray blew them away. See you soon.